All right, everybody. Super exciting. Here we are, just checking the mic here.
How's everyone doing?
Good. Great.
You have a big update.
Wow. Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I'll go first with my update. Okay, so in terms of my personal YouTube channel, I did not do the last 2 weeks video. So I did the initial 4 and then I skipped the last 2 because I was traveling. And when I was on my travels, I ended up doing 5 podcasts. So 5 videos on other people's channels. So that was the trade-off there. And they were very big channels. One of them has 1 million following. It's not posted yet for like a month or so.
Wow.
So Danny Jones, Randall Carlson, Alchemical Science, Arcturus Raw. I'm missing one. I know I did 2 for Alchemical Science. One was a workshop where people vocalize into a oscilloscope and see their voice, like make art with their voice. And that was incredible. So then last night I did my video for this week and I just posted it right before I came.
What was it on?
So the one from today is about a 7-minute video and it was on the comparison of a few geometries in 432 versus 440 because that was one of my most requested videos. And I just did a few examples, but it was just bombshell proof that when you have, few frequencies in the 432, it creates a beautiful coherent geometry. And those exact same notes in 440 would create a jumbled chaotic mess. So I just put them right next to each other, side by side. It's like, you guys make the choice. Yeah, so yeah.
Have you ever tried 444?
I haven't, no.
So 528 would be the same beautiful as 432 because it's part of a scale, a solfeggio scale.
Yeah.
Probably.
So yeah. So
525.
Yeah, it's anything's possible at this point. I just keep trying all these different combinations because I mean, first and foremost, I'm an artist, so my main purpose is to find cool art. And then it just happens to be generated from harmonic numerical systems that are related by specific ratio combinations. So just in this process of trying to generate art, I stumbled upon all of these interesting philosophies on mathematics and tonal relationships and ratios that are of interest to the science community and the art community. So it's like melding of science and art and also healing, because I feel like these geometries have so much power to shift consciousness. I mean, just on myself, whenever I listen to them, they have the power to just like snap me into a particular state. And yeah, it's I feel like that's my ET connection, and I'm like channeling data from this little circuit I found. So, yeah.
It's so cool. You're seeing sound. Or you're still listening to sound, but not seeing it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Huh. Cool.
Yeah, it's cool. But oh man, let me tell you guys, the video this week, the resistance I was facing just to make this video was off the charts. It was like I could really feel the fact that I didn't work on my own channel for 2 weeks. It like kind of, undid some of the like, energetic connections that I was making just in terms of all the little things we talked about, like the technical stuff, setting everything up, just remembering how to carry myself without being, too chaotic, like just these little things. I noticed how quickly it kind of fell back a few steps when I wasn't being consistent with it, and how I was making so many excuses and just endless excuses, and manufacturing, manifesting obstacles, like
So interesting.
yeah, but
Well, good job you did it.
I know.
I mean, really,
Yeah,
that's so great. That's so great. You are so similar to him. Like he just did a video talking about what you're talking about, where like his first thing is to be an artist, and from your art came his technology and about That's so
So
cool.
cool,
Yeah, it's like that was the first focus.
Tell us- Yeah,
Yeah.
tell us about your guys' journey.
Well, you tell yours first and I'll tell mine.
Well, mine has mostly been about having the time to do it.
I mean, that's truly a real thing because we're creating a program right now and every day there's a new audio, a new editing, a new email, a new something like everything.
So-
Oh, she was like 8 o'clock this morning. She's like, we have 15 minutes. And if we don't do it now, we're not gonna make it.
Yeah, okay. So
It was real.
Yeah,
It was real.
and I was 4 minutes late. We hit stop. I was 4 minutes late to my meeting, but we
Mhm.
got it in the cab.
Mm,
Editing.
so good, good job.
So I've had lots of 3 o'clock bedtime evenings. And so I decided to, this is the part that I think is cool because I'm now gonna fulfill this loop of creation. Because I future paced myself to be here to say that I was gonna be talking about how I was gonna make sure that while I was here, that by this meeting that I would have video completed. So here it is. The keys behind the sign.
Okay.
So it was fun. It was fun talking about it and sharing. About 9 minutes, right?
So interesting. Mine was 9 minutes, his was 9 minutes, and we both achieved our aim of just getting in front of there without any idea what we're going to say, starting the thing, and then stopping it when I'm done. No editing,
Oh,
first take, and
Yeah.
I and
That's
it's like yeah, and well, finish yours, sweetheart.
Well, for me, I can say now, just now, since I just did this, the breakthrough was to be without anybody next to me, without anybody on the other side, but me looking at a camera. That's the part that I hadn't really done before.
He's
And
a natural.
it just seemed
It's like-
pretty easy.
Yeah.
Um,
And what was it about? It was about the process of this?
I was talking a little bit about this next level of technology that I just finished creating the template for just before, and then I watched it, and then I turned the camera on and started talking about it. And how I think that it's going to be, because of the way that I've created some new things in this one, I think it's going to be balancing the masculine and feminine even more smoothly, and my sense is that it's going to start showing up in the physical form more quickly. So I'm excited about that, and I'm excited for you guys to experience it.
And then he told a story and it was just all so natural and so good. And I'm like, it's so good to see you speak like that. Good job. Good job.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
So for me, it's so interesting. I'm like, every time I'm doing my best and like there was something still keeping me from doing it. So what day are we on? Friday. Okay.
It was Tuesday, right?
So not this past Tuesday, but the Tuesday before, I was on a Zoom with a friend who has been in our program. So she's very in tune with who I am and everything. And she's also very into it herself. And I've shared with her that I'm not able to make this video at the time still yet. And she said, she tuned in and she said, feels like your ancestors have something to do with this. And I said, really? So I was just open in the moment, and she gave me 3 of them. And she told me what to do. And she said, Amy, you can do this because I do this type of work. I do this type of clearing work. She just tune into them one at a time. And then with their permission, do some clearing. And one of them was my grandfather. Another one was a great grandmother and a great grandfather. And when I tuned into them, I could feel them. And not only could I feel them, but I could feel that they too held back their voice. They kept everything in. And I felt how hard that was and the pain that they carried with that. And there was a lot of emotion. And but then the beautiful thing is, like, I did the clearing and I felt it on them and they felt it. And all of a sudden that I felt their energy getting lighter and the heaviness melts away. And then I saw it trickle down, because, you know, into, that was my great grandparents, into my grandmas, my grandparents, my parents, and into my whole family. And everyone changed. It's like, I saw all the relationships improve, everyone being more joyful, me being fully expressed. And then there was something within me that was like saying, and I talk about this on my first video, that you guys, like, this was a real thing. Like, but this wasn't like a procrastination. I think I had the willingness to do it. And there was little energy saying, don't do this. Like, really, like, and then that was gone after that. So, but it still took me, it was 7 days later that I made the video, because that was last Tuesday. Then this was just a few days ago, Tuesday. And well, it was getting so painful. Like, I mean, from that moment after I did that, I could have done it the next day. And I don't know why I didn't do it yet, but it's, I think I didn't do it yet because part of me had to feel like this is a real thing. Like I'm experiencing firsthand that when we keep suppressing and holding in, that it affects our health. Anyway, so on Tuesday, I got the wild horses, right? We talked about that last time. I'm like, we're just going to do this. I'm just going to jump right into it. So I went in my room, had my space, and so I turned on the video. And at first, because nothing was planned, at first I just started to talk like I'm talking to someone. And then my guidance said after 5 seconds, stop. And so I stopped and I tuned in. Okay, what am I doing here? And so my guidance says, just jump into it and like have a conversation with yourself, interview myself like we talked about. And so I did, and it was like something else, because words came out of my mouth that I wasn't expecting. I learned some things about myself that I wasn't aware of. And so I'm talking like this, so it's 9 minutes. I go on, I'm having this conversation back and forth between myself. And then I get to a place where I said, you know, I'm still feeling energy around this. So I'm going to do an OCE process on myself. I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to do this and I'll come back and share what happened. And so I come back and I share that, all that stuff. Oh my gosh. So after I did that, honestly, it didn't matter if anybody ever saw the video, but I posted it on Facebook and I will post it other places. I just haven't done it yet. But what was important for me is like the feeling I felt. Like I freed myself up, and it was evening time, and I had so much energy from doing that. But here's the interesting thing. I appreciate you sharing what you shared about like waiting a little time. So I truly have been in flow of like what we're doing since then. And so I haven't made another one yet. So that was Tuesday, Wednesday. It's 3 days later, but I felt like it could have been nice to do it the next one, like the next day. And I'm already still starting to feel like a drag of energy. That's like, if I don't do another one soon, it's going to be a good,
It'll be work again. Huh?
it'll be like work again. Yeah, thanks. So I'm like, Amy, would you like to feel good? Would you like to stay in the flow? Let's keep this going.
Well, you're not
So-
limited.
That's so huge. And you
Yeah.
so good, and you felt light, and you did a lot of clearing. That's so cool.
What?
Beautiful.
Thank you so much. And you know what? I appreciate that so much, because it was really a big thing. And I was starting to, yeah. So thank you so much.
Triumph.
Yeah.
Yes,
Triumph.
we're so happy for you.
I tell you guys to celebrate everything. I have to celebrate and give myself something for that. I'll tune into that. But yeah, but
Awesome.
I posted it on Facebook Tuesday evening right after I did it. And my intuition said to look at it before I came here. And I clicked on it, and it has 381 views.
That's
And
amazing.
but what my intuition told me to look at it, not because to see how many views, but to look at those numbers. It was interesting, zero about numbers, right?
Yeah.
So it told me not because to really see how many, but to look at the number, and just as a sign, 381. I mean, 3 is my number, 8 is my number, and 1. And when you add all those numbers up together, it's 12. And that's my birthday number. And that's my number in so many things. And my life path number is 3. So I think it was, you see the sign, it's like a sign, like I'm on track, like this is good. And so it got a lot of engagement, and I got some great comments. And so it was just felt so rewarding and fulfilling, my first video, to have that.
Cool. And it's
Yeah.
in the conditions you wanted, where you were just gonna
Yes.
record and see what happened, and then you had
Yeah.
talked about doing the OCE. So that's like you pulled off like the version that you wanted, like in the style you wanted, like that's cool.
Well, I appreciate that. I will tell you, I've done a lot of power declarations on this. So, I mean, I feel like I programmed it to be like that when I would do it for the first time. And
Cool.
it just, it just felt so good to trust myself to just jump in and do it. And yeah,
Yeah, it sounds like you learned that there was an actual, it wasn't like, oh, I can't get the gumption up to do this. There was an actual block.
there was an actual real block. I mean, I never thought about tuning into my ancestors before. I mean, I've heard about that from others, but it was so easy for me to connect with them. It was so beautiful. I had this connection with it. Like one of them was a grandfather that he was in my life. The other ones were great grandparents that I've never seen. And I was able to tune into them and feel their energy. And they felt so much happiness and gratitude for me doing that for them. And now I feel like they're cheering me on. It's so good.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, because you did what they couldn't do.
Yeah.
So of course that's so cool.
Yeah.
There's no limitation
Uh,
there's no limitations to how many videos you do. You can do one every other day, or
Yes.
once you get rolling, you
Yeah.
get roll,
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. Yes.
Cool.
I'm
That's
so
so
proud of
I'm
you.
so
Aw,
proud of you
thank
too.
you.
What a cool thing.
Yeah, it's
Thanks.
so beautiful to witness the transformation from how you were processing it to now. Like it's incredible, and I'm sure your story will inspire so many people.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Well, I think the part that I was resisting was being so vulnerable and sharing the part that's not easy that I'm going through. Because you're gonna look at me, I mean, you can tell I'm not comfortable, right? When I'm starting that, it's like, I'm not comfortable. And that's okay. It's like, fine. And then, but then after I do the thing, you see a shift in me. And so it's good to like show others that we can shift these things.
And that's what your goal was in
Yeah.
part, and that's so cool. Yeah, because being real, like everyone's has been in that position of being nervous. So cool. Wow. Amazing.
I feel like
You
I'm
guys were musicians,
finally
right?
on my way.
Didn't you do music?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, sometimes you play the song, sometimes you rock the house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling that too, like a lightness too, just like a lightness is coming through my life.
Well-
Especially today, I just felt it. Like
Mm.
a lot of things are being wrapped up, they're done, accomplished. It's like, okay, cool, feels good. It's cool.
Yeah, and I think that happened for you last week. You want to share?
Yeah.
What did I?
Just the video you made, it was like,
Oh, so the video I put out last week, I was telling you guys that, or maybe I mentioned it, that it felt like closer to what I actually wanted to be doing, where it was me and the dry erase board. That's what as I was seeing those visions. And finally I was like, okay, yeah. And then I just went through and it was like, oh my gosh, same thing recorded you only have 10 minutes left to get this done by the time. And so I was pretty embarrassed by it too. Like I was like, wow, this is just like, I just got to put this out. This is like, cringing as I'm like editing and putting it up, like, oh, I could have done this, like this is really off the cuff, but just getting it done. And,
most views, most likes.
yeah, and he was like,
That's
this
good.
is you. Like, I
Oh.
felt your true energy here, like your
Oh.
excitement about this stuff and your like style and your philosophy of life was boiled down here. So, yay.
Yeah.
That's so
So
good.
it started, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Proud
it
of that.
started, yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
How did it feel?
It was just like, for me, it was embarrassing. I was like cringing. I was like,
Why was
"Oh
it
my God, I
embarrassing?
can't believe I was watching this." And like, I
Why was
can't
It was
believe,
great.
Why was it embarrassing
Oh,
though?
it's the stories we tell ourselves, right?
like,
Yeah.
it just, like, I guess you want it to be perfect or something. I don't know. It just felt like sloppy and I don't know. But anyway, and then today we did one where we did it together, which was cool. Same kind of thing, the whiteboard, and just ideas and talking about what we actually care about, which is the Dream Machine, the Fascia Lab. So it was like, again, like laying down some of the foundational architecture that we want to bring to the world, just getting that out out. So it was good. It was
Yeah.
fun. It was like easy. We're working easier together, like
Mhm.
passing it back and forth.
Yeah, we did an interview last night.
Got it.
Went really well.
Yeah.
I thought it did, yeah.
Yay.
So cool. So I
Congratulations.
participated in the video.
Good job.
And then we did something else. Well, go ahead and talk. I'm gonna bring something out from the other room real quick. Go ahead, Adam.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a couple videos to do, and it's been finding the time. There was time to participate in this one, so it was supernatural. So
We finally started our dare and done system where we were like, oh, you know, I dare Adam to do a video on the map of bridge outcome technology. You know what I mean? So it's like now whenever we're stuck, it's like best case scenario planning. What does that mean? You know, how does it work? You know, so this is really fun that we find, and I was gonna do net neutrality, like, so I was gonna do one color for him and one color for me. And so when we're stuck and we don't know what to do the video on, you can just pull one of these and then do it again. So cool, cool.
That's right.
So now we have, like, this is one thing I wanted to. But why do you think it got harder for you? You were saying you were like, oh gosh, and all the dread and the procrastination came back. Why do you think that happened? And how did you feel after you got the video done?
Yeah, you would think that I would, have more motivation after doing all those podcasts and getting all that practice. But it was just strictly like my whole process like needed to be, integrated. And I had to remember like how to do everything again, kind of, like a lot of it was like in the fourth video before I left. I feel like I figured out how to like, be stable in my frequency and hold myself together and just have like a certain way of coming up. And then I feel like I had to do a bunch of takes on this last one because I was coming off as a little more sloppy, so that was the main thing I was having issues with. Is I was like, I really want to improve my public speaking abilities to be more coherent and have a little bit more flow and less pauses, and that's just practice. And I was doing a lot more practice just alone in my room by myself, doing takes, watching myself directly on camera before I left. And so that was really, really helpful. And I kind of forgot a lot of that and had to relearn it. But yeah, it's a process, and I want to continue now doing it more consistently.
How did you feel after you finished your latest one?
Oh, I felt so good. Oh my gosh. I mean, again, the perfectionist mind comes up like, oh, what I wanted to do, perfect. But I mean, I feel like it's like laying down like a pillar. It's like, okay, I have that energy now flowing in the universal grid system. It's there, it's up, and like that's something I've been wanting to just like put energy into, even if it's just like a little bit, which was that just like make that proclamation to the ether, like here's the 432, here's the 440. And so I felt so good that I did that.
So cool. Yeah, I was gonna cheap out and do a video. One is the interesting that happened to me. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do a thing about the UFO in the Congress. And this is not something I would post on my personal channel, which is where I'm dropping every Friday. So I was like, okay, but I'll just do it anyway because it's a video and I need to do it. Literally, it froze on my Zoom. Like I was recording locally, not, and it was frozen. And so I did it again a couple hours later and it froze again. And I muscle tested and they were like, don't make this video. And I was like, okay. So it's interesting, and then I was like, okay, so now we're back to this other video, that I would put on the channel, so it's really cool how sometimes like the universe, well, I was listening in that case, like that to not to do that for whatever reason, so it's interesting. Interesting.
Are you gonna do it in the future?
Well, no, because they're saying like I got a clear no. It wasn't like don't do it for this speak up. It was just like do not make this video. And I was like, okay, cool. I don't want undue attention. I'm doing other stuff, like whatever. Who cares? I don't know. I was just like, I took it as okay, you know, cause I stopped it and started it again. So it wasn't like I pushed the door twice. If it closes twice, and it's like, okay, take the hint, you know, you're not supposed to be making this video. Like, okay. I was like listening.
Do you have your topic for next week?
No, but I feel like you said, once you get this rhythm going, now I'm thinking like, what am I gonna do my thing on next week? So it's cool. And I think, yeah, I'm just getting excited about doing stuff that I want to do. And it's past the assignment of just getting something up. And now it's like, okay, cool. Yeah, what am I gonna explain now? You know, so finally getting
Yeah.
into the good stuff.
That's how I feel. Finally, today, I broke that ice.
I love that you were
Officially.
talking about something you were passionate about too. That's great.
Yeah, I think what I'm going to continue to do is talk about kind of what's behind the scenes, kind of like what's going on in my thought processes and my interpretations of reality and how we're affecting reality and how what I'm creating is causing those shifts to happen.
Cool.
And some of it kind of what goes behind it. Like you've asked me some questions that I thought, well, it'd be nice if you were aware of some of the things that were happening behind the scenes that brought it up to this point. Like, for example, what's in the programming? Because you've kind of shared a number of times when it was kind of like saying, okay, well, here's my mind and I'm turning it over to
Scary,
you.
yeah.
And so I'm very respectful and completely aware of the fact that it's a big responsibility. And I take it with that importance. And when I first started programming my own mind, the thing that I said to myself was, I started seeing how, wow, if this is really true, and this is really possible, then every single thing that I put in is going to affect, and how is that going to change? And I started getting all those back to the future type thoughts. Am I going to be affecting different things? And what's that going to do in the momentum of things? And it kind of caused me to pause for a while. And then suddenly the answer was so obvious. It was just, well, program yourself that you only make the right choices with these things. And ever since then, I've never had any issues with it, because I believe I trust the genius inside of you and you and you and you and me more than any of our conscious minds, because we're tapped into our divinity. So I'm certain that when you're focusing on what's best for you and so on, that we all have the best of everything. So that's what's behind the programming, that what got me to the point to where I could put it together.
That's fascinating. It's gonna be cool to see those videos, to see like, yeah, all the thought process and the history and stuff. So cool.
I love that we're documenting all this.
So cool. Like, yeah, we just like wide-eyed walked into this, and then we're seeing all the patterns and everything. It's so cool. We're doing so well.
I can see a
Starting
difference
to
in
feel-
all of us.
Yeah, it's starting to feel like freer energy. That's very refreshing to people.
And authenticity.
That's what he would think over and over again. He's like, Zenka, you seem more you than I've ever like.
Yeah, and your video was very authentic. There was no persona or character or anything like that. It was like raw and very pure.
Yeah.
And that might have been, I'm guessing, that might have been what caused you to feel nervous about it, because you hadn't gotten you hadn't gone to the dressing room and come out and said, I'm ready for that close up. You hadn't done any of that. You were like, ooh, this is really me.
Do you have any tips on how to get to
And it
that
was
place?
great, you know, and it's not just me, like I said, most views, most likes.
Well, because it's like it's like if you give yourself over to the topic, then you're out of the way. Like when you're actually making videos about stuff you care about, or you're talking about your technology, you're just like, that's the sweet spot, because everything else is irrelevant. Your personality, your clothes, your looks, your this,
Yeah.
your that, whatever. It's just like it's speaking through you, because the thing that you're talking about is the showcase.
And it's easy to do when you have that focus.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I found. It was like when I just tuned in and talking to myself, it was so easy. It felt so natural. And I was just comfortable being myself, even though I was uncomfortable. That was like,
That's so cool. That's so
yeah.
cool. So you said you were asking yourself questions. Did you ask a question and then respond to it, or were you just in your mind
I
asking?
had no
questions?
idea what I was going to ask myself. And it's kind of interesting to watch. And when
So
Carl,
did you ask yourself in the video? Like, did you do
yeah.
both? So you're
And-
like,
and-
Amy, hey, Amy. Cool. I love that, because nobody's doing that.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's
when
cool,
Carl told the
right?
first one, you made you laugh, right? And I'm like, well, it's interesting because, okay, this is wild. More than 10 years ago, probably so much more than 10 years ago, my guidance was telling me a long time ago, because this has been with me a long time, right? A long time. And this isn't the first video I ever made before. It's the first video I made like this that
Mhm.
I've been guided to do, right? So, a long time ago, I got the guidance, like, I felt like someone was going to be, I didn't get a guidance saying, find someone to interview you, but I got the feeling that someone would be interviewing me. I never knew it would be myself. And I'm feeling that this is the way I keep going, because, and when you think about it, if I would like someone to ask me questions, who better to ask me questions than myself? And so I just jumped into it, and the first thing my voice said, "Are you ready?" And then part of me says, "Yeah." And then I said, and my voice says, "Well, why don't you start talking about what's been going on with you?" And so I start talking about what's going on with me, and I'm sharing these things. And then my voice says, and because the first thing I say, "Well, I haven't been making these videos," and my voice said, "Well, why not?" And that was so fascinating, because part of me says, "Well, why haven't you been doing it?" And then you kind of, it is so real and natural. And I think that's why I got a lot of views too, because people were saying, that's what they wrote. They say, "Wow, this is raw. This is natural. This is so authentic and real." And yeah. The answers that came out of me when I was asking myself questions was fascinating to see, because I wasn't aware that I was going to be saying these things. And then I start saying
So your
something.
interview had some really good questions for me.
I love that. It's a great thing. Nobody's doing this. I like that you're doing it.
And then, so, and at one point I'm like, well, there is no reason really. I'm like, you see myself trying to make it, like, to think about why I'm not doing it. I'm saying these things. It was wild.
There is no reason what?
Why
you're trying-
not to do it?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's because it's risky to your ego, your reputation, your view of yourself. Like someone was talking the other day about risks and how it's so great to take risks, like, because then you put your energy on the other side of that risk. You're like, I'm aware of the risk, but I'm taking that. I'm doing it anyway. And so that's like it's a vote that you're putting your energy toward that thing that you're doing. You're like, I'm I'm doing this. I looked at the risk. I'm going to live my purpose, and it's going, I've done it. And so there's more energy in that creation of that purpose, because you've taken the risk, you've walked forward, and you're doing it. And so the rewards are much greater because you're in, and so it's like, great, like you risked a lot, you put it up, and then you got the reward, just like, wow, I wish I could have done that. It was like, people were like, wow, it was authentic. It's great.
Well,
They
I don't-
wanted to be more authentic after watching it. Like isn't that the point of what
I
we're
mean, the
doing?
point, it's so beautiful because I inspired someone else to take action. Someone else said, yeah, I saw you transformation. Another one said, thank you for being so real. It's like, that is the whole, okay. But I have to say that for me, it didn't feel like a risk. And so I start with the part when I said, that's not it. I was kind of saying things that weren't real. Like at first I started saying, well, it's the day to day, blah, 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 blah. And then I sunk deeper inside. And then I asked myself, well, what would you, if you could say anything, what would you like to say? And then what came out was so beautiful and it surprised me. And it said, I guess I said that that I become aware that I take good care of my mind, I take good care of my body, but I haven't been taking the time to go inside and connect with myself and to really connect with my soul and hear what those words are that would like to come out. So that was something. And then the real part about why it was the resistance to do it was two things. One, I was like, just so many years of the suppression that it felt kind of like, can I get this stuff even out? And then of course I saw that I could. And then the other thing was that all the years of not listening to myself and it was really feeling tender inside. So like those were really,
Yeah. Cool. And then, like you said, it was the energetics of the other three members of your ancestry too were filling those themes. So it's like
Yeah.
compounded in an energy pattern that you're living out and then you're breaking.
yes.
So
Well, here's the thing though, I told myself, it's like, it's no big deal, Amy, that you made one video. It's the second one and the third one that you're making that are going to be more valuable because like, it's easy to do. Well, it wasn't really easy to do it, but but just to keep that momentum going. But I feel that there's a part of me inside that I have kept hidden and that has been kind of dormant, a part of me. And that's the voice that has been like kind of like really making me see her and get my attention to let that voice be heard. And I'm looking forward to seeing what that is because I'm not really aware of what it is.
I love your methodology and how you're just going to be asking yourself questions, letting something come out and being surprised by the answers. Like that is really an exciting, exciting place to be, like life to live. It's like, okay, what's gonna happen here? I don't know, like that's so cool.
I appreciate that, and I feel really good about it because I feel like I finally have found a way that I can actually do this comfortably.
Yeah.
So I thought about starting the next video saying, "I watched your video."
Yeah.
We'll just see what it comes out. But anyway,
Well, see, this is what I had envisioned when I thought about this. What we're doing right now is kind of, I think I mentioned it, kind of like a Truman Show type thing. It's kind of what she's doing. You see her video, she's like going back and forth.
Well, you can play with that. Coppola has a film called Youth Without Youth, and Tim Roth's character has an alternate character that's actually real. There's two of him. He's the only one that can see the other one. And he does some real. So what do you think about that? I don't know. He does some of those, but they don't show him jump back and forth. They use different angles so that it is that jumping back and forth thing, which I was thinking about while you were talking about it. It could be fun to do.
oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And you could just go with, if you gave a little pause, you could do two cameras. And then you could edit out the shifting so that it was just from over
That's
here.
hilarious. That's so great. So great. So cool. I love that it's real time, that you're asking the question, getting the response. Like I think it was great. Do you know what you're gonna do for your next one?
I have no idea. I love your idea of having a little jar because I have an Excel sheet and I kind of just did a brain dump, but
Cool.
I have no idea.
How did you pick the one because it was the most viewed, but yeah.
It was actually a comment recommendation from one of the last videos. Someone's like, hey, could you make a video on the oscilloscopes showcasing these two 440, 432 systems? So it was just 100% inspired by that, actually. But it was on the long list.
Really?
Okay. Cool. that's a great format. Like I really thrive off of that energy. I'm like a projector in the human design, so I like having people ask me questions. I love your idea too, but
Yeah, and that's how you could
That's so good
close
that you-
each video. You could
Yeah.
close each video with like, hey, you have,
What?
if you have an idea for a video, you
Yeah.
know, and just
Am I?
put it down in the.
totally,
Oh.
I love that.
I'm
so
that too. I'm a projector.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
because you're what? You're what you call it?
Generate.
Generator. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, and so what is it we're supposed to have them ask us? What?
Yeah, that's one of the main
Yes,
things.
yes.
Like you wait for an invitation.
Yes,
That's
yes, yes. So,
And
okay,
now
well,
if
this
it
is
comes from
interesting.
yourself, then
Yeah.
you don't have to
You're
wait too long.
come from yourself, so that's great.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm feeling like the same thing will happen, like with me, that's happening with you, that once I start speaking, I'll get that from. Is that what you're saying? It's like you got the invitation to say, hey, do this?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah. Got it. Oh, gosh.
So cool. We're all on the other side. Everyone did a video this week. Yay.
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Cool.
got a lot of videos we'd like to make, and yeah. I think the jar is a good idea. I don't know that we'll actually pull it out and make a video on that. However, to go, oh yeah, here's the ideas. Pull it out.
I like that idea, just pulling it out, like, okay, what is for now, and like as a backup even too, like, oh, I don't have a video for this week, well, this is a good one to do it on. I'm starting to feel like I also want to do transmedia, like some questions are better answered on TikTok, some are better answered on Instagram, some are better full, like, because I'm doing these full YouTube, but are people really on mute? I don't know, like, so it's cool to start, I think eventually to start being able to put this voice in different places.
Yeah, that's totally my goal as well.
Yeah,
Make little shorts
yeah.
and put them, make like a separate Instagram channel, and yeah, I love that.
Yeah, you've really done a fresh reboot from yours, because during this project, you started from scratch. Like, okay, I'm gonna go this brand new channel, brand new graphics, brand new everything. I love it.
Mhm.
Love it.
Yeah, it was very liberating to do that because I just had such like a pure aesthetic that I had built, and I didn't want to deviate from that in the other kind of brand that I had built, which was mostly all about just music. And I was like, that was causing a lot of resistance to posting because I was like, oh, like I don't want to deviate too much from this brand that I've created. But as soon as I made the new platform, like so many of those shackles were released, and I was like, okay, now I can just post whatever I want. I don't have to think about any sort of catering to any audience or anything. It's totally pure. So I'm grateful that I did that, but I know that's not the path for everyone. You know, some people would thrive more from building from what they had because of the, you know, the cohesion that they're trying to attain. So
Well, but I had to break from my company, you know, and say, oh, I'm gonna publish this out on this other thing and
Mhm.
not have it be, you know, so practical or this or that. So yeah,
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah, and there's always the option to, you know, go back, you know, and
Mhm.
bridge them together at some point.
Co-post,
as
yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah. Cool.
Hey,
Triumph, we had a goal this week.
Yeah.
Triumph.
Yeah,
This
Yes.
is really cool. It's a new chapter in all of our lives. I'm
Yes.
so happy for you.
Yeah.
So
I'm so
happy.
happy for you doing
know,
it,
man.
and you,
I'm
and
so
you, and
happy
you,
for
and all of
you.
us.
I know, we're all leveling up. I feel like.
Yep,
It's
Yeah,
just gonna keep leveling up.
yep.
yeah.
No limit, like you said.
Yeah. Imagine where we'll be next time,
And
because I feel like we're all picking up
That's
momentum and.
Thanksgiving, right?
Oh,
I don't know.
That's the day after Thanksgiving, next time.
Oh, that's right.
okay.
All right, here we go.
Oh.